Welcome to this video introducing the basic principles of Yin Yoga. Yin Yoga is suitable for most people. If you are pregnant, it can get difficult the bigger you get. And if you have any injuries, I would recommend seeking guidance from a teacher. To practice, you will need to be preferably in a warm space that you won't be interrupted. When we practice Yin, we become very, very still and our body temperature tends to drop, so we can become quite cold. So layers of clothing and blankets are really good. You can practice on a yoga mat or on a couple of towels or a blanket. If you have a bolster, yoga blocks, cushions, you can have these close to hand to help support the body during the practice. So Yin Yoga helps to release deeply held tension, particularly in the deeper layers of fascia in the body. It helps strengthen our joints. It's very balancing on the central nervous system and calming on the mind, and can have quite a profound effect also on our emotions. So I would just use 3 yoga postures, Yin Yoga postures, in this video to introduce the main principles of practice. And any subsequent videos that I make, no matter what the focus of the video is, if it's a Yin Yoga practice, these same principles can be used every time you practice. So I invite you now to lie down onto your back. Taking your time, we like to do everything very slowly in Yin Yoga. I will talk more about the Taoist philosophy that underpins this practice, and in particular the yin-yang theory. Most people are familiar with that Taiji symbol of the black and white with the dots of each colour. And this represents these seemingly opposing energies of yin and yang. And in a very basic nutshell, everything we do in today's society is predominantly yang. It's very fast, it's very active. And when we embrace the energy of yin, we want to introduce the opposite. So we want to really, really slow down, become very aware of what we're doing. And often we're coming into, well, mostly we are coming into complete stillness. So just making sure that you're comfortable on your back. Have your arms away from your body with your palms facing up and the legs just comfortably away from each other. We practice Yin Yoga in a passive way, which means we try not to engage the muscles or use too much effort in any of the poses. So it's always good just to take a few moments before you practice, just to check in with your body and begin this invitation to your muscles in particular to relax. Let them know there's no work to be done for these next 15 to 20 minutes. So starting at the top of your head and just scanning with your awareness down over your face, noticing areas of tension, tightness, and gently inviting those parts to relax. We hold a lot of tension in our jaw, around our eyes. So parting the teeth gently, softening the eyes, and beginning to sense this softening and relaxation spread down through your neck, top and the backs of your shoulders. Relaxation spreading down your arms into your hands and fingers. Body beginning to soften and relax. Relaxing your chest, your ribcage, your sides, your belly. Feeling the whole of the back of your body supported by the ground beneath you. Really encouraging this letting go of any effort in the body. Really let yourself sink down into the ground. Feel your hips, your legs, the backs of your knees melting into the earth. Ankles, feet and toes relaxed. So our first pose today will be reclining butterfly. And we can do butterfly in several variations. The basic shape with our lower body is to join the soles of the feet together and then just allow the knees to drop down towards the floor. If you're new to this practice or if you have a lot of tension in your hips, you might find that your knees are very high up to begin with, and that's not a problem. The more you practice, the more this will change, and it will be a very natural and gradual process. So you should already be on your back. If not, come down nice and slowly, keeping your feet together and knees just gliding down towards the earth. So every time we make any type of movement, we naturally engage and activate particular muscles to allow for that movement. So once we enter into a yin pose, we just scan through the body again and notice if there are any muscles that we're particularly holding or squeezing, and we just internally invite these muscles to release their effort. So we're giving your muscles permission to let go of their need to do any work. So in Yin Yoga, we have a principle known as playing our edge, and it's the edge of discomfort. We're looking for what can be described as the Goldilocks effect. We don't want to feel too much that we're in pain, and we don't want to feel too little that we're not actually stressing the targeted tissues. And as we stay in the poses, we hold each of the poses for a minimum of 2 to 3 minutes. And as the pose develops over time, you'll notice that your edge will change. Sometimes sensations get stronger and perhaps you need to pull back a little. Or sometimes the body begins to open and release, allowing you to go deeper in a much more comfortable way. So we're constantly checking in with this edge. So in this particular pose, and if you have got a lot of tightness in the area and the knees are high, as I've mentioned, you could always put pillows underneath the knees, or if you have bolsters, even better. But just something that really gives the legs something to lean into, and it provides this sense of safety to the body so that it does feel that it can release. If at any point throughout any of the poses it becomes too much, either in sensation or mentally, please just very slowly release the pose and allow yourself to come back into the resting pose that you began in. And so the second principle of Yin Yoga is that we commit to stillness once we have made the shape with the body, found our first edge. We commit to stillness and we allow time to be the acting force. So instead of using brute force of the muscles or with our mind willing the body to go deeper and further, we're just becoming very passive, and we let time do the work, time and gravity. We simply allow the process to happen. Very slowly, help your knees together with your hands. We can feel quite uncomfortable when we first move out of the stillness. And then straighten out your legs, falling back into your resting pose. And take a nice long deep breath in through your nose, drawing breath down into your belly. Open your mouth and let out a sigh as you exhale. And just feel yourself sinking further into the ground as you release that out breath. So in between each of our yin yoga poses, we come into what is known as a rebound. And this is an opportunity for the tissues of the body to regain their integrity, for the body to come back into balance, and for you to observe the effects of the pose. So taking a nice stretch overhead with your arms as you inhale, and as you exhale, bend one knee at a time and hug them in towards your body. You can gently rock the knees backwards and forwards, side to side, and then rolling over onto one side and supporting your way up into a seat. We're going to move now into caterpillar. So we do this by having the legs out in front. If you have tight hamstrings, your knees will probably quite naturally stay bent. That's absolutely fine. You can put a rolled up blanket underneath them just to, like I mentioned, help them to feel safe enough to release and relax. So if that feels comfortable, you can do that. You can stay seated upright, particularly if you're tall. I don't have that problem. Your hamstrings, the backs of your legs can become very tight and quite stiff. So merely sitting upright with your legs out in front of you might be enough stimulation on the backs of your legs. Otherwise, you can begin by bowing your head. Just notice how that stretch feels. It's amazing just bowing the head forwards, how far down the back you can feel the stretch. And this is courtesy of the fascia system. So if it feels available, you can start to round the shoulders, curve the spine, and just let yourself gently fall forwards into a forward fold. It really doesn't matter how far down you come. If this is not a competitive exercise to see how far you can go, it's about listening to what your body is able for and honouring where it's at right now. And know that every time you practice yin yoga, you'll come to a different place in each of your poses. For example, first thing in the morning, where we haven't moved much during the night, the tissues and the fascia can become quite stuck and dry, and so it doesn't feel like there's much ability to move deeply into poses. So we always follow the body, not our intention of the mind. So we find our edge once we've made the shape with the body. If we realise, oh no, that's hurting somewhere on my back, we just let ourselves come up a little bit. So it's always fine to come out if you've gone too deep. And once we've found our first edge, we invite that relaxation and softening through the body. And we commit to stillness over several minutes. If you feel like your lower back is being pulled backwards, so depending on the angle of your pelvis or hip tightness that you may have, some people feel like they're doing this in their forward fold, so they're kind of coming back through the lower back. They don't really feel able to come forwards. So if that's the case, you could use a block or a pillow just to balance on the edge of, basically. And that will help tilt your pelvis forwards, allowing you to move into a more comfortable forward fold. So just staying in the pose, listening to the body. And in all of our yin poses, unless directed otherwise, we're keeping the breath nice and soft and natural. And we allow a surrendering into the pose. And often the most challenging part of yin yoga for new practitioners is coming into stillness. Our nervous systems are predominantly very overstimulated. And so there's this tendency to need to be on the move constantly. And so there can be quite a lot of resistance initially as you embrace this new way of being. So very slowly now, rising up tall through your spine, softly, gently, supporting yourself. When you come up, you can imagine each of the vertebrae stacking back on top of each other until you're in an upright position. Then we're going to come down onto our back for our rebound. So the way I would recommend doing this is to keep your knees bent, use your hands and your forearms, and then rolling down through the tailbone, the base of the spine, until each part of your spine makes that contact. If your lower back's feeling a little bit aggravated, you could keep your knees bent with your feet about hip distance and just allow the knees to rest against each other. Arms out to the sides, palms facing up. Take another deep breath in. And a releasing exhale out. Letting go of all effort, sinking into the ground. And taking another nice big stretch throughout the whole body. And then bending your knees and hugging them in towards your chest, rocking them backwards and forwards, side to side. Rolling all the way over onto your side, gently pushing your way up. And coming into a seat, any comfortable seat. And I think I will stop there for today. I just really wanted to introduce these principles of playing your edge, responding respectfully and kindly to what your body is feeling, to committing to stillness over time. So holding the poses very gently for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And in Yin Yoga, rather than the poses becoming more complicated and difficult, we use the same poses but just with variations and staying in them for a little bit longer. So I look forward to sharing more of this with you very soon. Stay well.